not let your lying eyes deceive you. Dragon Age The Veilguard has an amazing character creation screen according to the likes of IGN. I mean, you too can create several strong, empowered females with rock-solid jaws and different pronouns and gender differentiations, but no discernible glutes that you can go ahead and customize, but you can make as large of a chest as you want, as long as large involves A and B. But you know, your jowls, hey man, they can go ahead and be all the way up to a double D if you are so inclined. It's incredible. You have all the sliders at the ready, and this is just fantastic. Like 6 million people have seen it and 6 million people agree. Don't take a look at anything in the comments section. Well, I say like 6 million people agree, but it's more like 250,000. But look at all of those strong and power characters that you can make that look completely and totally generic and awful. All of those women, those strong, empowered women. But brother, everybody is tearing this game apart. Everyone is tearing this game apart, and nobody's going to be playing it. It is going to be one of these games that is going to come and go, cost the studio a whole lot of money, whole bunch of money, a lot of money down the drain on this one, and end up with, you know, I don't know, maybe a game director stepping aside, maybe us figuring out how much money it actually costs at a later date, and then eventually a studio getting closed down that once had a great track record of success, only to be resigned to the dustbin of history due to ideological poisoning. Where have we seen that before? I don't know. It's not like there's a previous video on the channel, you know, completely going over this scenario that we're just seeing play out again. Normally, when it comes to situations like this, you don't have so many close comparisons come out in such quick succession. But in regards to gaming in 2024, oh brother, we have been inundated with wonderful examples of when you put ideology ahead of gameplay, yet end up with failure on the horizon. And then when you decide to emphasize gameplay, hell, might even come out from the same studio or from the same group of studios. Like you have Sony first and second party titles in Astrobot and Stellar Blade respectively that can go ahead and offset the cataclysmic failure of Concord. You can go a year apart under the Warner Brothers umbrella, with this year's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League being a fantastic $200 million hit to Warner Brothers Games division, which they're looking to sell a part of because that game is such a smash hit, and contrast that with the 2023's best-selling game of the year in Hogwarts Legacy. You can just simply look at the games and see how poorly they're performing, or if you can see a game or a studio being championed by the mainstream game journal press, see that as a mark of failure, as opposed to the games that they will go ahead and deride. And, you know, you have a game that is breaking records in the form of Black Myth Wukong. Like, it's not rocket science to really point all of this stuff out and go, oh yeah, that's going to happen. We've seen that play out before, and this is the end result of that. Big shock on that one. So when Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out next month, and everybody, in November rather, I want to wish away too much of 2024 already, but when that comes out in 6-7 weeks time, which I can't believe that that's actually more accurate, and that goes on to be a cataclysmic flop, in a couple of months down the line we hear that Ubisoft is looking to restructure a little bit. Nobody's going to be surprised because we've all seen this play out before. So yeah, Dragon Age The Veilguard retail pre-orders getting stomped by Zelda The Echoes of Wisdom. And yeah, last week, at the tail end of last week, before the, maybe that video was the one that came out on Sunday. I can't quite remember. Can't keep it all straight. But last week at some point in time, we talked about the abysmal pre-order markers, just on their own, like some sources, some scoopers that are out there, and then, you know, just looking at the Steam wish list numbers and going, not good. Not good at all. This thing is going to be a disaster. But hey, they have a long time to turn it around, okay? This comes out on Halloween, but nothing is more frightening than whatever in the blue hell that thing is. Like, bro, you think that's a winning strategy, huh? Anyways, a new report claims that retail pre-order sales for Dragon Age The Veilguard are getting stomped or chinned by Zelda Echoes of Wisdom by a factor of 4. Okay. Now here's the thing. You get a single platform release in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, but it's also Legend of Zelda, arguably the second most famous gaming IP in history. Arguably speaking. As opposed to a big budget AAA multi-plat release. Might not think that's fair to compare, you know, it's an apples and oranges situation, but you know, the underdog is beating the brakes off of modern gaming by not one, not two, but a factor of 4. Oof. Craig Skistam, once again, we got Stuttering Craig on the case, apparently, shared that his retail source manages over 900 stores. Okay, so yeah, I'm thinking this has got to be Target or something like that, but has informed him that Dragon Age The Veilguard has only 1,069 nice. That's about the only time you're going to hear nice and The Veilguard in the same sentence. Pre-orders, yeah, in total, while Echoes of Wisdom has over 4,400 in just the past week. Which, when it comes to physical sales, yeah, might be another misnomer, because normally it's not going to be a fair comparison, especially because I think that probably a lion's share of people who are going to be playing this game, or even just have a little bit of curiosity, like if it's a part of EA's subscription service or something like that, or if it's going to be on Game Pass, I don't think it's going to be. It's more or less just going to be a digital product, and physical copies, in video games, they're mostly gone by the wayside, unfortunately. Whenever I like a game, I get the physical copy. I'm staring over there at the corner, or out of the corner of my eye, and see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Remake, and just behind that, I got a copy of FF16 as well. I haven't played it yet. I don't know if it's great, but I got a physical copy of it because I love physical. Mostly because, I'm kind of a collector at heart, even though modern games aren't really worth collecting. But in regards to physical releases, like at least Nintendo and the Switch, they still have a little bit more of a presence in the physical realm. Mostly because the storage space on the Switch is kind of ass. And the game carts aren't really that expensive, and you can carry around a bunch, especially with it being a mobile system. So if the Switch 2 comes out and it has a massive onboard SSD, micro SSD, M.2 drive, might end up switching it up when it comes to the physical releases, but then they'd also be absolutely out of their mind not to include backwards capability, rather compatibility with the original Switch. So we'll have to see where it goes at that point in time. But yeah, that's still even for people, for collectors, because I think that'd be about the only people that are going to be enticed and wanting to play Veilguard is just people that have seen the Dragon Age series progress through the years, because I couldn't imagine any of the fleeting modern audience looks at a game like that, sees characters like this, and goes, now is the time. After all of those great reviews for Origins and Inquisition, now is the time to hop on the Dragon Age bandwagon. Now's the point in time. I'm not convinced. Not convinced at all. Yeah, this information follows rumor from a YouTuber, Dr. Disaster, that sales are piss poor. Looking at the numbers again, 38th most wish-listed upcoming Steam games, 11th for the Deluxe, and 17th for most pre-ordered games on the PS5. It's not working out well for them, And you know that it's really pathetic when they're trying to take down YouTubers critiquing and laughing at this crap. Again, RK Outpost in the crosshairs of these weirdos. It's a day that ends in Y, and it's working out about as well as, Bioware is right now, because this cabal of speds, what was it, last month or something like that, the Rewriting Ripley crew, as you can see, one of the head writers over there, Katie, I write those Rewriting Ripley articles, at it again, retweeting these freaks, asking YouTube to take down these bigots that are simply reviewing the press footage of the character creation screen that they were so excited and happy about. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Jumping in, we're looking into this and handle the next steps from here. In the future, you can flag videos or channels that you think are violating our policies by following the steps here. Yeah, as Grums points out, it's not working anymore. The reason, we all think Veilguard's character creator promotes mental illness and, as a fetish, which is exactly what it does. Pedestalizes physical disabilities in a fantastical world where if you're afflicted with anything that would go ahead and see you as a lesser, you could go ahead and have that reversed and fixed just like that. So it doesn't make any sense. It's just modern day politics injected in a point in time where it doesn't make sense at all. If you want to have your little pet games that are out there with all of your little homegrown ideologies, go ahead and make them for yourselves. Oh, but we see how all that worked out for you in the forms of Flintlock, Dustborn, Tales of Kenzara Zao. It's not popular. You guys don't make up a noticeable population. I couldn't even think of the proper adjective to describe the portion of freaks that we're dealing with here, because that's what they are. They're trying to ruin people's lives because they simply don't like what you're putting out there. You're a freaky furry on the internet. Nobody takes you seriously in real life. You used to have a little bit of sway because all the social media networks marched in lockstep in order to adhere to your fringe thoughts and feelings, and I was just not working anymore because you have become as disposable as the other 41% of your friends. Here's the thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. You can go play the game. You can actually support the product that you're just so mad that all of these bigots are trying to take down, but you don't. You don't, because you have to share the same food that you do with your cat. You have nobody that loves you in real life. You have nobody that takes you seriously online. Sucks to suck, I guess. But after Dragon Age The Veilguard includes top surgery scars, which even over this entire past weekend, tried not to think all that much because I've been a little bit under the weather, as you can see by the past couple of videos, and probably for, a vast majority of the next, in this week. My eyes, my head, and my voice, and everything's been a little bit off recently. So I've been trying to, take a step back, really prepare myself for the rest of the year, because from October forward, I can imagine things are going to get, completely and totally gnarly. So got to do a little bit of self-care every now and again, and I'm finally going to take my advice in this week and potentially into next week, but I could have some updates for you guys, which you might actually really enjoy. Moving forward, that's, I'm looking forward to, could share with you, at a later date. I'm still trying to finalize everything, but don't worry about that. Like I was saying, I was trying to not really think about all this stuff, just, relaxing and recovering. But whenever I'd see a video talking about Dragon Age, it's like, oh my God, really did have top surgery scars. This is the craziest stuff I've ever seen in a video game. Like, there's been plot twists, there's been character developments that, really set you aback, but to include that type of stuff, that really does take the cake. It's going to take something tremendous over the top of that to really dethrone that monumental moment in history, the moment where everybody realized that the Veilguard is just not going to sell. It's not going to move numbers. It's only going to be laughed at. It's going to be yet another cataclysmic failure in the year of gaming of our Lord 2024. But yes, why does the left always parrot the phrase, all art is political? Oh, because they're just brain dead, okay? And you can read through this article if you're so inclined. I think that it's very well written and it's worth your time, but here's the thing. That's always the rejoinder of an idiot who's just out of cogent arguments. All art is political. No, it's not. It's just you're so brain rotted that you can't see anything outside of your political lens. I've made it very obvious that I'm a fairly conservative fellow. My politics, in the words of Razorfist, would have German subtitles. I'm a big-time Trump supporter, but I do break ranks with the right when it comes to a couple of issues, especially when it comes to affairs in the Middle East that apparently we're starting to get involved in again. Thanks, Joe, for that one. Nice parting gift for everyone. So glad the adults were back in the room to start not one, not two, but 3 different wars. But I digress when it comes to my media coverage, outside of just, simply addressing issues with work that are overtly political. When it comes to my analysis, politics plays very little in regards to my reviews. If something sucks, if it's contradictory, if the characters are poorly written, the story makes no sense, you can go ahead and simply say, well, it's bad for these list of reasons. The Rings of Power isn't terrible because Galadriel's a girl boss. That's a contributing factor. It's just everything else makes no sense. The character, Celebrimbor, is a blithering idiot and has nothing to do with him being corrupted by Sauron, who is Halbrand in a wig, which shouldn't be fooling anybody. The story is so bad. Does that have anything to do with politics? Well, some people would say, oh, it's just because it's all political, because you don't like, it's all political, because they can never really point to anything. It's just all of these empty platitudes over and over and over again. And while they have solutions where you just need to dive harder and faster into that stuff and silence any dissenting voices, the other side of the conversation is just out here looking for answers, looking for opportunity, looking for options, really, something different. And the market has really picked up on different in 2024. Like I've stated before, Black Myth Wukong being an outrageous success, even though it's Chinese and if everything is all political, shouldn't the right be against a CCP owned and operated studio? 2.1 million concurrent players can't necessarily be wrong. One thing that did catch my eye, and over the weekend, I was actually, it's kind of weird, right? Like, I was approached by a game developer, of all things, which is crazy to think about. And like I've stated before, this year, I think that it's very important to talk about gaming, and it's especially important to talk about entertainment, because that's the way that a lot of minds initially get poisoned. That's why fighting back against the people whose baseline assumption that everything is political needs to be fought back with more in-depth analysis and more coherent thoughts. And if they're going to go ahead and run all of your favorite IPs into the ground, they're going to poison the well for everybody else. We're going to need somewhere to go in the interim. So when I was approached by a developer, And just for clarity, they didn't ask for specific amount of time. They didn't offer any money or anything like that. It's just, hey, we got a press kit for a game that we're really passionate about. We're inspired by the likes of Dragon Age and other games of the genre, and we think that, hey, we have some things in common, and we think that we'd be compatible with your ideals, and I appreciate that, okay? And then I took a look at what I seen, and it's like, you know what? It's not bad. It's not bad. And when I see small indie studios like this do some things that, you know, I take a look at and it's like, you know what, this stuff looks pretty cool, to be completely honest. This is what I like to see. These are the alternatives. These are people taking a look at the landscape and going, it's not for me anymore. I'm a gamer. I know what I like. And you know what? We have the ability, we have the tools to make something great here. And you know what? Band of Crusaders kind of looks that way, okay? From what we can see, it's obvious. There's no release date or anything like that, but it's got some mechanics that I think are pretty strong based on some of the information that I got. I got the press kit and all that stuff. They sent that to me. Not being paid or anything like that. It's just I was doing some research on the studio, and yeah, I am more than willing to give this game, from what I can see right now, my seal of approval. I don't necessarily know what that'll mean in the long term, but hey, I really do like what I see. And like I said, you know, there's got to be alternative. There's got to be other ways for us to fight back instead of simply going, well, that got taken from us, that got taken from us. You have to be willing to create some stuff. And you know what? This is what this little studio is doing, okay? This is what the folks over at Virtual Alchemy are doing, okay? And I got their website pulled up here, and it was, in fact, Dominic Sibnicki who, you know, contacted me, sent me an email. The line that got me intrigued in the email is, yeah, we're more like Dragon Age and less like the Veilguard. And it's like, you know what? That made me chuckle. I'm going to take a look, and I was impressed with what I seen. And the fact that they have the values page right out there, and it has nothing to do with politics. It just has everything to do with, yeah, we just want to make games, bro. That's all we want to do. We aim to offer vast player freedom propelled by creating systems-driven environment that provide gameplay opportunities around every corner, coupled with an art style that is both unique and beautiful at the same time. Virtual Alchemy was established in Warsaw, Poland, and is led by visionaries and passionate developers Dominic Sibnicki and Kamil Minkiewicz. Combining more than 20 years of relevant experience, the studio consists of 10 members cooperating closely with a lot of knowledge sharing and team play spirit in between. Despite our big love for the game and their development, we do encourage the proper work-life balance, knowing that there is a foundation built upon which great developers and games are built. And you know, man, it's a little studio, and that's what they're saying. You know, 10 members, a whole bunch of experience, and a lot of passion. That's what I like to see. This is the way. This is the way, not like the hack way that, you know, Disney and Star Wars wants to push it with The Mandalorian. No, you see a gap in the market. You see a gap in the market created by a bunch of greedy AAA ideologues ruining something that you're passionate, something that you worked on or worked in the past 20 years, and you want to do something about that. You love to see it. When I see people that are passionate, when I see people that are good at what they do, have the potential for greatness, I am more than willing to help them out with that. And that applies to anybody watching this video right now. You're passionate about doing something, feel free to reach out. If you think that I can provide any sort of voice for you, I am more than willing to do that for you, because I want to actually see things progress. I like pointing stuff out. I like offering solutions, but you know what I like to see more than any of that stuff? I want to see people provide the end product, and that's what we're getting right here in the form of gaming. I'd love to see more of that stuff in other entertainment vocations. I'd love to see that in the political sense, but we aren't going to be getting that anytime soon now, are we? But most importantly, you can do those little incremental improvements every single day, and that's what I encourage you to do, and that's what I hope that you get out of this. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.